Yo, what's up guys? Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to talk about Ultramarine Linux, a Linux distribution that's based off of Fedora and that aims to make Fedora accessible to everybody. It makes it so easy to just go ahead and use Fedora without worrying about any of the configuration stuff, and it comes in amazing flavors: Budgie, GNOME, KDE Plasma. I have the Budgie edition with me right now, and without further delay, let's go ahead and check out what Ultramarine Linux is all about. So the moment we log in, we are greeted by a beautiful wallpaper. Let's just take 1 second to admire the wallpaper. I love the airplane peeking out from a forest and the beautiful blue sky. I love that. And so what is Ultramarine? Why is Ultramarine? Why use Ultramarine in place of Fedora? So Ultramarine, as I said in the intro, aims to make Fedora accessible to everybody. It has a bunch of things pre-configured so that your life is easier. If you are familiar with Linux and if you are familiar with what Fedora is and what Fedora stands for, you would know that they include only the free versions of their repositories in the distribution out of the box. You can configure the non-free versions, but what Ultramarine does is RPM Fusion is already configured with both the free and the non-free versions and the tainted versions as well. So that is something which is very good. They also have fully configured Flatpak and FlatHub, and you get the ZSH shell, which, as you can see, looks pretty good, and it comes with an autofill, I guess. That's how you'd call it. It does use DNF, which is what Fedora uses, and it's pretty fast. So I ran NeoFetch over here. I love the Linux Tux logo. As you can see, this is Ultramarine Linux 39 edition. We are running on the 6.5 kernel, not the absolute latest, but still very, very new kernel. Now I am using the Mutter window manager inside of Budgie 10.8.2. So this is pretty good. Let's do one thing. Since we have this distribution installed, I'm gonna go ahead and run top, which is basically, if you don't know, it's a terminal based application that tells you how much RAM is being utilized and how much it's free. So for this machine, I have allocated 6.1 gigs total, out of which 2.5 gigs is free and 1.7 gigs have been used. Let's just keep the terminal in the middle or in one of the corners. So we're gonna see what kind of value it changes and how the system responds as we keep opening and closing apps. So this is at idle with only File Manager open. By the way, File Manager, the icons, really sleek. I love this. And this is Nemo. So this comes from my favorite operating system, Linux Mint. It uses the same file manager. I absolutely love this one. So let's just have it somewhere over here, and let's talk about the Ultramarine desktop. Let's start with the start menu, which is a good place to begin, right? So you have your all apps, accessories, graphics, internet, office, sound and video, system tools, universal access, other very standard applications, I would say, for screenshotting, for calculating, your standard notepad or gedit, and inside graphics you have an image viewer. Probably GIMP should have been included, but I don't know, maybe you could just download it off of the internet. And it also keeps the OS lighter as you install it. You get LibreOffice out of the box. With sound and video, you get Perl Media Player, Rhythmbox Music Player, and System Tools. You get Budgie Control Center and Budgie Desktop Center. You also get System Monitor. We're going to come back to the Control Center and the desktop settings a little bit later in the video, because we want to dive into details with those two services. As you can probably already see, the icons come up in the middle, which I think is really cool. It kind of gives a Windows 11 type of vibe. And at the right hand corner, oh, by the way, before that we have workspaces, but I'm not totally sure how you move workspaces using the mouse. You can increase or decrease the number of workspaces, but probably there is a keyboard shortcut, and also maybe you can use the trackpad to swipe and change the workspaces. But I would have loved if this was a clickable button so that I could just change workspaces, because I am in a virtual machine right now and trackpad is kind of out of the option and I don't know what the shortcut is. On the right hand side, we have for buttons for the internet, volume, calendar. This isn't actually calendar, this is only the clock. And you can go to the system time and date settings, but we're not going to do that. And one of the flagship things about the Budgie desktop is the Raven notification panel, sidebar, whatever you want to call it. So it has widgets, it displays notifications, which I don't have any. It shows you the current date. It gives you a calendar with the year. You can change the year, you can change the month. Pretty exciting. And it also integrates the microphone and the volume sliders in this menu, which is really good. And you also get to see which apps are playing audio. So that is very handy. You can monitor everything. If you have multiple apps playing audio, I don't know, maybe you're watching a YouTube video, but you're reading the subtitles, it's on mute, and you have another song playing in the background. So that, it might be, right? So that's something which is pretty good. And you also have devices, so line out built-in audio. If you have something else, for example, a microphone, a headphone attached, then that's gonna be the case. And you can also, I love how they say play some music. Let's click on the button and see what happens. So it opens Rhythmbox, which is fair. If you have some music downloaded in your local machine, then that's going to play. Now we're gonna go over, let's scoot this over to the right, and we're gonna go over to Budgie Control Center. Let's see what it has for us in store. Because I feel like Control Center and desktop settings, these are the two main things for Budgie. So this kind of looks like GNOME's Control Center, but I love how spaced out these are, and the backgrounds, a very limited collection, but these are really nice. I love the backgrounds, and you can add pictures. Ooh, this looks really cool. It's dark and I love it. Maybe you'll use it for the thumbnail, I don't know. This wallpaper looks really good too. So then you have notifications, so you can see notifications is on for all the apps that are in our systems. Multitasking, so you can have active screen edges turned on. This is basically if you take your app and you scoot over, it's gonna drag it and it's gonna create two apps side by side. What do you call this? Window snapping, that's the term I use. You can also adjust how many number of workspaces you can add or deduct, and you can have workspaces on the primary monitor or on all displays. Now these are very standard settings for applications, privacy, for settings for all of your applications individually, which is really good. If you want some apps to maybe not send you notifications, then you could do that from here. Or you have sound, power, displays, so basically scaling. I don't think they offer fractional scaling, but that's okay. Inside power, you have two power profiles, balanced and power saver. I guess if you were to install this on bare metal, you would also get high performance, but that's something which you guys can let me know down in the comments if you try this distro out, which I recommend. I totally vibe with this distribution. It's really good. You have mouse and keyboard, touchpad settings, standard settings, right? So this is nothing special. Let's go to the about section. So this is Ultramarine Linux. We can see what kind of graphics. So this is software rendering because it's inside a VM. We are in the 39th edition. We are on X11. We're not on Wayland like Fedora is, and we are using the 6.5 kernel, which I already talked about. Okay, now let's move on to the Budgie desktop settings, which I believe this is the area where you get to really play with Budgie and you get to understand how the desktop really feels and how customizable it is. And by the way, there is some construction work going on, so if you guys hear something, I'm sorry, but I can't really help that. Anyway, let's go ahead with desktop settings. So first we have style, so you have widgets, so we can set the appearance of window decorations and controls. We are using fluent dark round. Let's go with fluent round green dark. So these change, that's pretty good. The icons set the globally used icon theme. So let's go ahead with Papyrus Dark. And we saw the icons change here and here. And also the start menu changed. I love this icon settings. They remind me of Linux Mint a little bit and GNOME as well. So let's just go ahead with that. Cursors is Advaita, and there is no other option to change. I really like Vibata Classic, which is used nowadays in Linux Mint. I really love that, and I would prefer to have options as well instead of only Advaita. I'm pretty sure you can add cursors, but I would love to have some options out of the box. Notification position, you can change it basically 4 corners of your screen, wherever you want it. The default is bottom right. You can change it according to how you want it. You have dark theme enabled, not going to disable that. Animations is enabled, and built-in theme is, when enabled, it will override the desktop component styling. So that is not enabled for good reason. Next is the desktop. So we have desktop icons enabled. And if it's enabled, you can show active mounts. So if you have a USB drive, a hard disk, or whatever connected to your desktop externally, that's going to show up over here. You have the home directory. So if we remove that, my name's going to go away. You have a trash, which I like to keep. I like to keep trash on my desktop. This is one of the very few icons I actually like to have on my desktop. Apart from that, I like it very clean. You have click policy. So click policy determines if we should open items on a single or double click. This is a lifesaver. I have seen some distributions force the user to have single click for some things and double click for some things, and they don't give you the option to change it. Very recently have I seen a desktop environment give users the option to do it, but I really don't like when the choice isn't given. This is Linux, right? This is where you give people choice, not take it away. I really love how they have the double option selected by default. If somebody wants to have single, they can go in here. It's just 2 clicks away, and you can set it to single if you want to, but give me double. That's what I'm used to. I come from Windows. I use Windows, and not even for Windows, for anything. I come from the world of computers where double is the standard. Give me double. Sorry, I think the rant has gone on for too long. Let's move ahead. And icon size, you can change it to massive. Let's go massive. Oh, that looks good. That looks really good. Let's go back to small. And number of virtual desktops. So I see this number actually synchronizes across the entire Budgie desktop. So if I create one over here, this number, maybe it should go to 3. Okay, I don't know. Maybe if we close Budgie desktop settings and if we reopen this, maybe it'll change back to 3. I don't know. We have fonts, Enter Bold, a very good font, which is used in many distributions now. Raven, which is the side panel that we talked about. And that's really good. So we have calendar at the top, sound output, sound input, and media controls. You also can go to the settings. So you can set the Raven position, and you can set the notification order from newest to oldest or oldest to newest if you are, I don't know, a psychopath or something. But one good thing about Raven is that you can change the output. So you can drag calendar. I guess you can't drag it, but you can click on it and you can put it below. So when you open it up, calendar is going to be at the bottom, right? And you can also have week numbers displayed. So each applet, I say each widget, it has different functionalities. Allow volume overdrive, so beyond 100%. For input, the same. Media controls, no settings available. This is so well flushed out. I would love to use this as a daily. If you choose a particular widget and you add, so you can choose plugins. You can choose a plugin you can add. So calendar is a plugin inside of a widget. Okay, I got it. So we don't need 2 calendars. Let's just go ahead and delete that. Don't ask me again. Okay, that was pretty cool. And the Raven position, we've already checked that out. Left, I wouldn't know if somebody would prefer it to be on the left and the button on the right, but if you are like that, just go ahead with it, I guess. Moving on to Windows, attach modal dialog to Windows. Modal dialogs will become attached to the parent window and move together when dragged. Okay, so let's say you have some window open, for example, LibreOffice Writer, and you have another smaller window open. So if you drag the main window, the smaller window is going to come along with it. Button layout, change the layout of the button in application title bars. So that's right, standard, it's okay. Center new windows on screen, maybe if you want. I generally keep it disabled. Disable night light when windows are full screen. That's not something you would want to do, I guess. And pause notifications, maybe you would want to do this when You know that if you are in a full screen mode, you don't want anybody to disturb you. But again, if you forget about it, you can miss some important notifications. So I think it's better to enable the D&D mode if it's available anywhere, somewhere here. Enable unredirection allows frames to bypass for full screen application. This is very technical stuff. And show all windows in tab switcher. All the tabs will be displayed in tab switcher regardless of the workspace in use. That's something which you could do. Now coming to the bottom panel, or as we like to call it in Windows land, the taskbar. So as we can see, we have Budgie menu to the left, which is our start menu. We have a visual space. So this shows you the the three dots. And okay, how was I able to change it again? It says you can change it with scroll, so I tried scrolling on it and it just gave me the third desktop. That's not weird. I'm missing something. I'm definitely missing something, because it just moved over to the third workspace and I'm not sure. Okay, anyway, okay, so now it's working. Why wasn't it working before? Okay, so that is pretty cool. You cannot understand the third workspace, but there it is, 3 workspaces. Let's undo the reverse scroll and okay, yeah. So you just have to place your mouse pointer over it and you have to scroll. That's pretty good. Okay, I figured it out, guys. I did it finally. Icon task list. We have the icon task list, so you can restrict the workspace. Lock icons, show only the favorited ones, and show all windows on click. So if you click on an icon, all the windows of that particular window are going to open up, and that's something which you might want to do. I generally don't like it, but if that's your jam, go ahead. We already discussed system tray, network, status indicator, clock, raven, trigger, but the good thing about it is same with the other stuff. You can move stuff around. So for example, you don't like the icons to be at the center. You want it to be on the left, so you just drag them up one step and voila, they are to your left. That's it. That's pretty good. We're gonna keep it centralized. So that's centralized. I don't think you say that word, but anyway. So you also have settings for position. So position is at the bottom. You can change it to, I don't know, maybe left. Some people do that. Not really my jam, but if this is your jam, go ahead. Again, everything. If this is so much customizable, whatever is your jam, you're allowed to do it. There is no talking of blocking you down in a particular user experience with no options of being able to change that. You can change the height, width, spacing. I really love the option to be able to change spacing. I really love that. I wish transparency, so that's none. Maybe you can have it to dynamic. So when I guess you don't have anything over it, it's transparent. When you full screen, then it goes dark. That's pretty good. I really like this one. Let's largen it up, and you have dock mode too, so you can enable the dock. It's okay. I love to have only icons on my dock, not everything. So let's just go back to what it was. You can create a new panel, which we're not going to do. Auto start is here, so you can auto start any app if you want to, or you can have a command that you want to run at the beginning of your session. So that's pretty handy if you have some custom things that you would want to do. Continuing our tour of the start menu, let's see what other stuff that we can talk about. So we have Budgie hot corner settings. So I like to keep it disabled, but you can actually enable hot corners, and you have like basically different edges of the screen for activation. I like to keep it disabled, but you do you. And also, let's go ahead and talk about the software center. Let's see what kind of software experience you get to have with Ultramarine Linux. Okay, so this is the bog standard GNOME Software Center. Nothing to complain, very easy to use, very colorful as you can see, and everybody's familiar with this already. Nothing more to talk about. System updates, I'm not going to do it. So you're using GNOME 43 for, okay, so some of them are 43, some of them are 45.1, which is interesting mix. LibreOffice seems to be very recent, and you also have updates to advance that, and you also get 45.2 for the software. Very interesting. And all the codecs are already in here, multimedia codecs, and license issues, non-free, as you can see. So this is a very complete distribution out of the box for anybody to use. And I think you're gonna love your time with Ultramarine Linux, and I think the wallpaper is very fitting as well. So with that, we come to the end of this video. The construction sound is increased in my flat, and I really wouldn't want the video to continue with the noise. So there you have it, guys. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you on the next side. Fleece. What did I just say? Peace.